Hello, everyone. Welcome to Roy English Talk. I'm your host, Natasha. Stop translating. That one habit might be the biggest reason you still struggle to speak English fluently. Think about this. When someone asks you a simple question in English, do you first understand it in your language, translate it, build a sentence, and then speak? By the time you're ready, the moment is gone. What if you could skip that entire process? What if your brain could respond instantly, naturally, and confidently in English? In this video, you're going to discover how to rewire your thinking so English becomes automatic. No more hesitation, no more fear, no more getting stuck in your head. But here's the truth most people don't realize. Fluency is not about knowing more words. It's about how you use what you already know. And the reason you're not using it properly is because you're trapped in translation every single day. So, the question is, how do you break that habit? And how do you start thinking directly in English, even if you're still a beginner? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will see English in a completely different way and finally start thinking in it. Let's be honest for a moment. You already know some English. You've studied vocabulary, learned grammar rules, maybe even practiced speaking again and again. You understand videos. You understand basic conversations. But when it's time to actually speak in real life, something strange happens. Your brain freezes. And it's frustrating, right? Because deep inside, you know you should be able to speak. You've spent hours learning, you've memorized words, you've tried your best. But still, when the moment comes, your mind goes blank. Not because you don't know English, but because you're trying to translate. This is the hidden problem that most learners don't even realize. And once you see it clearly, everything starts to make sense. Let me explain it in a simple way. Imagine your brain like a road system. When you think directly in English, it's like driving on a straight highway, fast, smooth, no interruptions. But when you translate, it's completely different. Now your brain is taking a long, complicated route. It goes from English back to your native language, then back again to English. It's like driving through a crowded city with traffic lights, signals, and constant stops. Every sentence you want to say has to travel this long path. And that's why you feel slow. That's why speaking feels difficult. That's why you hesitate. And that's why sometimes you avoid speaking completely. Now think about a native English speaker. Do they translate before speaking? No, they don't stop and think, how do I say this? They don't build sentences step by step. They think and speak at the same time. Their ideas come out naturally, without effort. And that's the real difference between you and them. It's not intelligence, it's not talent, it's not even vocabulary. It's the process. Your process is slow. Their process is automatic. Now let's break down what actually happens in your brain when you translate. First, you understand the idea in your native language. Then your brain starts searching for English words. Then you try to arrange those words into correct grammar. Then you check if the sentence sounds right. And while all of this is happening, the conversation is still going on. The other person is waiting, and you start feeling pressure. This pressure makes everything worse, because now you're not just thinking, you're also worrying. What if I say it wrong? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? What if they judge me? So now your brain is doing two jobs: translating and handling fear. And that's too much. That's why your mind freezes. That's why you suddenly forget even simple words. That's why your confidence drops, and slowly you start speaking less. Let's take a very simple real-life situation. Someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" It's an easy question. You know the answer. But what happens inside your brain? First, you think in your native language. Yesterday, I went to the market. I met my friend. Then you start translating. Yesterday, went? Yes, went to the market. Then you think about grammar. Is it correct? Should I say I went or I have gone? Then you doubt yourself again. Now you're confused. And while you're thinking, seconds are passing. The other person is waiting. Maybe they look at you. Maybe they repeat the question. And suddenly, what should have been a simple answer becomes stressful. Now imagine a different situation. Imagine your brain is trained to think directly in English. The question comes, "What did you do yesterday?" And instantly your mind responds, "I went to the market and met my friend." No translation, no delay, no stress. That's the power of thinking in English. Now, here's something very important you need to understand. Translation doesn't just slow you down, it also limits your expression. Because when you translate, you try to match words exactly from your language to English. But languages don't work like that. Not every sentence has a perfect translation. Sometimes your language expresses ideas differently. Sometimes English uses completely different structures. So what happens? You either say something unnatural or you get stuck because you can't find the perfect word. And again, you lose confidence. This creates a cycle. You translate, you feel slow, you lose confidence, you avoid speaking, you improve slower. And this cycle continues for months, even years. Many learners stay stuck here for a very long time, not because they're not learning, but because they're practicing the wrong habit every single day. Now let's go deeper. Why does your brain rely so much on translation? Because that's how you were trained from the beginning. You learned English like this. This word means this in your language. So your brain created a connection. English to native language to meaning, instead of English to meaning. And this small difference creates a huge problem. Because now your brain depends on your native language as a bridge. And every time you use that bridge, you slow yourself down. But here's the truth. You don't need that bridge anymore. You already know enough English to start thinking directly. You just haven't trained your brain to do it yet. And that's completely normal, because thinking in English is not automatic. It's a skill. And like any skill, it requires training. Now let me ask you something important. When you learned your first language as a child, did you translate? No. You didn't think in another language. You didn't convert words. You simply connected sounds with meaning. When you saw food, you understood hunger. When you saw water, you understood thirst. When you felt pain, you expressed it instantly. Everything was direct. That's how language is supposed to work. But when learning English, most people break this natural process. They depend on translation. And slowly, that becomes their biggest limitation. Now here's something interesting. Translation is not completely bad. In the beginning, it helps. It gives you basic understanding. It helps you learn new words. But the mistake is this. You keep using it for too long, even when you don't need it anymore. And over time, it becomes automatic, a deep habit. Even when you try to think in English, your brain goes back to translation. It feels safe. It feels familiar. but it's also what's holding you back. And breaking that habit feels uncomfortable. You might feel slow. You might struggle to express ideas. You might feel like you're getting worse. But you're not getting worse. You're actually improving, because now your brain is learning a new system. Think of it like going to the gym. The first time you lift weights, it feels hard. Your muscles shake. You feel weak. But that discomfort means growth. The same thing is happening here. When you stop translating, your brain feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort is progress. Now let's return to a simple example again. You look at a chair. What happens in your mind? If you're translating, your brain says the word in your native language first, then converts it to chair. But if you train your brain, you can look at that object and instantly think, chair. No extra step, just direct understanding. That's the goal, to connect English directly to meaning. And when you reach that level, something powerful happens. Speaking becomes natural. You don't pause as much. You don't overthink every word. You don't panic when you forget something. You simply communicate. And that's what fluency really is. Not perfection, not complex grammar, just the ability to express your thoughts freely. So if you've been struggling, understand this clearly. You are not bad at English. You are not slow. You are just using a slow system. And once you change the system, everything changes. Now that you understand why translating slows you down, we need to go deeper. Because if you really want to stop translating, you must understand what's happening inside your brain. This is where everything changes. Let's start with a simple idea. Your brain is like a machine that builds connections. Every time you learn something new, your brain creates a link. The more you repeat something, the stronger that link becomes. This is how habits are formed. Now think about how you learned English. From the beginning, you were taught like this. English word equals meaning in your language. So your brain created a pattern. Every time you see an English word, your brain automatically goes to your native language first. This is not your fault. This is training, and your brain is simply following that training. Now, here's the important part. Your brain doesn't care if something is slow or fast. It only cares about what is familiar. So even if translation is slowing you down, your brain keeps doing it because it feels safe, because it feels normal, because you've repeated it thousands of times. This is called a habit loop. Your brain follows the same path again and again, and the more you repeat it, the stronger it becomes. That's why stopping translation feels difficult. You're not just learning something new, you're breaking an old habit and building a new one. Now let's understand how fluency actually works in the brain. When you think in English, your brain creates a direct connection. English equals idea. There is no middle step, no translation, no delay, just direct understanding. This is exactly how native speakers use language, and this is what you need to train. But here's the challenge. Right now, your brain has two systems. System 1, translation system, slow but familiar. System 2, direct thinking system, fast but weak. Every time you choose to translate, you strengthen the slow system. Every time you try to think in English, you strengthen the fast system. So the question is, which system are you training every day? Most learners unknowingly train the slow system because it feels easier. But easy is not always effective. Now, let's talk about something powerful: repetition. Your brain learns through repetition, not by understanding once, not by watching videos once, but by repeating actions again and again. This is why some people watch English content for years but still struggle to speak, because they are not training the right skill. They are watching but not practicing thinking, and thinking is the key. Now, let's break this down into a simple concept. There are 3 stages in language learning. Stage 1, translation stage. Stage 2, mixed thinking stage. Stage 3, direct thinking stage. In stage 1, you depend completely on translation. Everything goes through your native language. In stage 2, something interesting happens. Sometimes you translate, sometimes you think directly in English. This stage feels confusing because your brain is switching between 2 systems. But this is actually progress. And then comes stage 3. This is where you think directly in English most of the time. Translation disappears. Speaking becomes natural. And this is where fluency truly begins. But here's something most people don't tell you. Stage 2 is the most important stage, and also the most uncomfortable one, because this is where your brain is changing. This is where you feel stuck between 2 worlds. Sometimes you feel confident. Sometimes you feel lost. Sometimes sentences come easily. Sometimes you struggle with simple words, and many learners quit at this stage. They think, "I'm not improving, I'm getting worse." But the truth is, this is the stage where real progress is happening. Your brain is rewiring itself. Old connections are weakening, new connections are forming, and this process takes time. Now let's talk about something very powerful: neuroplasticity. This is the brain's ability to change and adapt. No matter your age, no matter your level, your brain can rewire itself. If you practice thinking in English consistently, your brain will build new pathways. At first, those pathways are weak. That's why thinking in English feels slow. But with repetition, they become stronger and eventually faster than translation. Now here's something important. Your brain always chooses the strongest pathway, not the best one, not the fastest one, the strongest one. So if translation is stronger, your brain will use it automatically. But if you practice thinking in English every day, that pathway becomes stronger, and slowly your brain starts choosing it naturally. That's when the shift happens. Now let's talk about input and output again, but deeper. Input is what you receive. Output is what you produce. Most learners focus heavily on input. They watch videos, they listen to podcasts, they read books, and that's good. But here's the problem. Input alone does not create fluency, because fluency is not just understanding, it's producing language in real time, and that requires output, especially thinking. Thinking is silent speaking. It's practice without pressure. It's training your brain to form sentences instantly. And the best part? You can do it anytime, while walking, while eating, while sitting alone. Now, let's talk about speed, because speed is everything in conversation. When someone speaks to you, you don't have time to translate. You don't have time to think slowly. You need instant understanding, instant response. And that only happens when your brain is trained to think directly in English. Now, imagine two learners. Learner A translates everything. Learner B practices thinking in English daily. After a few months, what happens? Learner A still struggles, still slow, still hesitant. Learner B? Not perfect, but faster, more confident, more natural. That's the difference. Not talent, not intelligence, just training. Now, here's something very important. Your brain hates effort. It always looks for the easiest path. Right now, translation is easier for your brain because it's familiar. But if you consistently practice thinking in English, that becomes easier over time. And eventually, it becomes automatic, just like driving, just like riding a bicycle, just like speaking your first language. Now let's bring everything together. Fluency is not about knowing more. It's about accessing what you already know, quickly. Translation blocks that access. Thinking in English unlocks it. So the real goal is not to learn more words. The real goal is to build faster connections. And that happens through thinking, daily, consistently, even if it feels slow, even if it feels uncomfortable. Because that discomfort is your brain growing. So remember this. Your brain is not the problem. Your method is. And once you change the method, everything changes. Now that you understand how your brain works, it's time to face something important. Most learners are not stuck because they are lazy. They are stuck because they are making the same mistakes again and again without realizing it. And these mistakes are dangerous because they don't just slow you down, they train your brain in the wrong way. Every time you repeat a mistake, you make it stronger. So if you don't fix these mistakes, you can practice for years and still feel stuck. Let's break them down, one by one. Mistake 1. Trying to speak perfect English. This is one of the biggest traps. You want to speak correctly. You want perfect grammar. You want perfect sentences. And because of that, you hesitate. You stop. You overthink. Every sentence becomes a test. Every word becomes a decision. Is this correct? Is this the right tense? Should I say it this way or that way? And while you're thinking, the conversation moves on. You miss the moment. And slowly, you start avoiding speaking. Here's the truth most learners don't accept. Fluency is not about perfection. Fluency is about communication. Think about children. Do they speak perfectly? No, but they speak freely. They make mistakes, but they keep going. That's why they improve fast. Now, think about yourself. You try to be perfect before speaking, and that's exactly what slows you down, because perfection requires thinking, and thinking creates delay, and delay kills fluency. So if you want to improve, you must accept imperfect English, because imperfect action is always better than perfect silence. Mistake 2. Translating word by word. This mistake is everywhere. You try to translate each word from your language into English, but language doesn't work like that. Words are not puzzle pieces that fit exactly the same in every language. Each language has its own structure, its own logic, its own rhythm. So when you translate word by word, you create sentences that sound unnatural, sometimes confusing, sometimes completely wrong. And then you think, my English is bad. But that's not true. Your method is wrong. You are focusing on words instead of meaning. Here's what you need to understand. Communication is about ideas, not words. When you speak, you don't need perfect words. You need clear ideas. So instead of translating word by word, train yourself to express the idea in English, even if it's simple, because simple and clear is always better than complex and confusing. Mistake 3. Fear of making mistakes. This is one of the biggest emotional barriers. You are afraid. Afraid of sounding wrong, afraid of being judged, afraid of embarrassment. So what happens? You stay silent, or you speak very little, or you speak only when you feel ready. But here's the problem. You will never feel ready, because confidence does not come before action. It comes after action. Every confident speaker you see today was once a beginner. They made mistakes. They felt uncomfortable, but they kept going. That's why they improved. Now imagine this. 2 learners. One waits to feel confident before speaking. The other speaks even when they feel uncomfortable. Who improves faster? The second one. Always, because they are training their brain in real situations. So, if you want to grow, you must become comfortable with discomfort. You must accept mistakes as part of the process, because every mistake is a step forward. Mistake 4. Learning without practice. This is a silent problem. You watch videos, you listen to English, you read books, you learn grammar, and it feels like you're improving. But when it's time to speak, you struggle. Why? Because you are only receiving, not producing. Understanding is passive, speaking is active, and fluency requires action. You cannot become fluent by only watching. You must practice. And the most powerful form of practice is thinking in English, because it forces your brain to produce language, to build sentences, to connect ideas. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Mistake 5. Depending too much on native language. Your native language feels safe. It feels comfortable, so you use it all the time. You think in it, you translate from it, you rely on it. But here's the truth. The more you depend on it, the harder it becomes to think in English, because your brain never learns independence. It always needs help. It always needs a middle step. And that middle step is what slows you down. So, at some point, you must reduce that dependence. You must allow your brain to struggle, because that struggle is not weakness, it's growth. Mistake 6. Believing you need more vocabulary. This belief stops many learners. I can't speak because I don't know enough words. But let's be honest, you already know basic words. You know common verbs. You know simple sentences. So why can't you speak? because you're not using what you know. You're stuck in translation. You're overthinking. You're waiting for perfect words. But communication doesn't require perfect words. It requires usage. If you start thinking in English, you will realize something surprising. You know more than you think, and you can say more than you believe. Mistake 7. Lack of consistency. This is simple but powerful. You practice one day, then you stop. Then you start again, then you stop again. This breaks your progress. Your brain needs repetition. Daily repetition. Even 10 minutes a day is powerful, but only if it is consistent. Consistency builds habits, and habits build fluency. Without consistency, nothing works. Mistake 8. Waiting for confidence. Many learners believe, I will speak when I feel confident. But confidence doesn't come first. Action comes first. Confidence is the result of repetition. The more you speak, the more your brain becomes familiar. The more familiar it becomes, the more confident you feel. So don't wait. Start speaking now. Even if it's slow, even if it's simple, even if it's not perfect, because action creates confidence. Mistake 9. Overcomplicating everything. You try to make your English sound advanced. You try to use difficult words, complex sentences, perfect grammar. But this creates pressure, and pressure creates hesitation. Instead, focus on simplicity. Simple sentences are powerful. Simple sentences are fast. Simple sentences build fluency. For example, instead of trying to say, I have been going to the market frequently, just say, I go to the market often. Same meaning, less stress, more fluency. Mistake 10. Giving up too early. This is the most dangerous mistake. You try for a few days, it feels uncomfortable, it feels slow, you don't see immediate results, and you stop. But remember this, you are not learning a few words, you are changing how your brain thinks. That takes time. Real change is slow, but it is powerful. Every day you practice thinking in English, you are building something, even if you don't see it immediately. So don't stop, because the only way to fail is to quit. Now here's the most important thing. All these mistakes are normal. Almost every learner makes them. But now you are aware, and awareness changes everything. Because once you see the problem clearly, you can fix it. If you've made it this far, congratulations! You understand the problem. You know the mistakes that are holding you back. You know why translation slows you down. Now it's time to fix it. I'm going to give you a complete system, step by step, that will help your brain think directly in English. And the best part? You can start today. Step 1. Awareness. Catch yourself translating. Before you can stop, you need to notice when you're translating. Here's a simple trick. Whenever you speak in English, pay attention to your thoughts. Ask yourself, am I forming this sentence in English first, or am I thinking in my native language and then translating? Every time you catch yourself translating, pause mentally and restart. This may feel slow at first. That's okay. Discomfort equals growth. Real-life example. Imagine you are ordering coffee. You want to say, I would like a cappuccino. Translation thought, I would like cappuccino. Direct thought, I would like a cappuccino. The second one is your goal. Your brain will learn the direct pathway if you notice and restart each time you translate. Step 2. Think in English for small things. Start small. you don't need full conversations yet. Describe what you see. Narrate your day silently in English. Talk to yourself while cooking, walking, or commuting. Example: I am cutting onions. They smell strong. I will cook pasta today. Do this for 5 to 10 minutes daily at first, then gradually increase. Why it works? Your brain is creating a new habit loop. Each micro-session reinforces English thinking without pressure. Retention hook. By doing this, your brain will slowly stop asking, "How do I say this in my language?" Step 3. Use simple sentences. Stop overcomplicating. Your goal is fluency, not impressing someone. Speak in short, clear sentences. Use words you know. Focus on expressing ideas, not vocabulary. Example: instead of, "I have been considering going to the grocery store for purchasing some ingredients," say, "I am going to the store to buy ingredients." Story: I once taught a student who overcomplicated every sentence. They froze in conversations. After switching to short, direct sentences, their confidence doubled in a week. Retention loop. Simple sentences, speed, confidence, more speaking, more fluency. Step 4. Shadowing practice. Shadowing is repeating English audio while thinking in English. Steps: listen to a sentence or phrase, pause, then repeat it while thinking in English, not translating. Example: audio: I love going to the park on sunny days. You repeat silently, then out loud, forming the image directly in English. Why it works? This strengthens direct brain pathways for English, bypassing translation. Story: one learner shadowed a 5-minute video daily for 2 months. At first, it was slow. By the end of the second month, they could recall full sentences naturally without thinking. Step 5. Internal dialogue. Talk to yourself in English. Ask questions and answer immediately. Example: what should I eat today? I will cook rice and vegetables. How was my day? It was good. I went to the park. Why? Internal dialogue strengthens automatic thinking in English. Story: I had a student narrate her day silently for 10 minutes. Within a month, she noticed she started dreaming in English, a powerful sign of fluency forming. Retention hook. Once internal dialogue becomes natural, translation drops automatically. Step 6. Visualize thoughts in English. Use mental imagery. Imagine a scene and describe it in English mentally. Avoid your native language entirely. Example: you see a dog running. Think, dog running fast. It's brown and happy. The owner is calling it. Story: a student practiced visualization daily for 15 minutes. Within 3 weeks, she could describe her day aloud without pausing to translate a single word. Tip: combine visualization with internal dialogue for maximum effect. Step 7. Daily English micro moments. English is everywhere if you make it part of your day. While brushing teeth, I am brushing my teeth. While waiting for coffee, the coffee machine is hot. I need a cup. While walking, I see trees. Birds are flying. These micro moments train thinking in English naturally. Retention hook. By the end of the week, these tiny exercises create a strong English habit, unseen but powerful. Step 8. Speak to yourself out loud. Silent practice is good, but speaking out loud builds confidence. Record yourself. Repeat phrases. Speak whenever alone. Story. A student started narrating their morning routine out loud. By week 2, they could describe their entire day fluently without translating. Tip. Hearing yourself in English rewires your brain faster than silent thought alone. Step 9. Focus on ideas, not words. Always focus on meaning. I am happy because I met my friend. Avoid friend, meet, happy. Story. One student spent years memorizing vocabulary but struggled in conversations. When we shifted focus to expressing ideas, he became fluent in months. Retention loop. Ideas to sentences, to fluency, to confidence, to speed. Step 10. Patience and persistence. This is not instant. Daily practice is key. Some days will feel slow. Some sentences will be hard. Story. A learner thought he failed after 1 month. After 3 months, he could speak directly in English without translating, surprising everyone, including himself. Step 11. Use English immersion. Surround yourself with English. Listen to podcasts. Watch videos without subtitles. Read articles silently while thinking in English. Why? Immersion strengthens direct thinking habits and reduces translation. Retention hook. Every hour of immersion trains your brain subconsciously, even when you feel you're just watching. Step 12. Track progress. Write down sentences you thought or said in English. Note moments when you avoided translating. Celebrate small wins. Story. One student kept a simple log. After 2 months, he was amazed to see dozens of sentences formed without translation, proof that his brain was rewiring. Step 13. Avoid returning to old habits. Limit translation tools. Avoid overthinking grammar in real time. Remind yourself, your brain is rewiring. Tip. Your brain will always prefer old habits because they are easier. Overcome this with consistency. Step 14. Combine methods for maximum impact. Combine shadowing, internal dialogue, visualization, micro-moments, out-loud speaking. This creates a feedback loop. Think, speak, listen, repeat. Brain reinforces direct English pathways. Translation weakens. Fluency grows. Step 15. Reinforce positive mindset. Fluency is a journey. Mistakes are learning opportunities. Discomfort equals progress. Daily affirmation. I am training my brain to think in English. Every day I get better. Story. A learner repeated this affirmation while practicing. Within a month, he noticed automatic English thinking even while doing chores. Step 16. Celebrate milestones. Small wins matter. Completing a day without translation equals win. Speaking 10 sentences without hesitation equals win. Celebration reinforces habits. Your brain loves positive feedback. Step 17. Advanced practice. Optional. Once basic fluency forms, speak about abstract topics in English, join online English groups, explain things to yourself or others in English. Why? This trains higher-level thinking directly in English and solidifies neural pathways for advanced fluency. Step 18. The continuous loop. Always repeat awareness, thinking in English, speaking, shadowing, visualization, reflection. This loop ensures long-term progress. Hello, everyone. This is Roy English Talk, and now you have the complete roadmap to stop translating and start thinking directly in English. Remember, fluency isn't about memorizing endless vocabulary or perfect grammar. It's about training your brain to form ideas and express them naturally. Every time you practice thinking in English, narrating your day, shadowing content, or speaking out loud, you are building the neural pathways that make English automatic. Mistakes are not failures. They are proof that your brain is growing and adapting. Discomfort is the sign that your thinking system is rewiring. Keep going, keep practicing, and celebrate each small victory. Start with micro moments, build simple sentences, use visualization, speak out loud, track progress. Combine these methods consistently, and your translation habit will slowly disappear. So here's your challenge. From today, dedicate a few minutes to think in English every single day. Watch how fast your fluency improves. Your brain is capable, and now you have the roadmap. If this video helped you, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Share your progress in the comments. I want to see you succeed. Your English journey is in your hands. Keep thinking, keep speaking, and fluency will follow.
Thank you very much dear friends for watching the full video.